Hi everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday to you. I hope we are doing okay. We are here again once again. You are welcome to my channel. Here we are talking about life chapters, real life stories, experiences, motivations, and stories that actually did happen. A lot of us have given up on things that we are going through, situations that we're going through. Other people must have gone through them as well. That's why this channel is here to encourage you and to hear stories that might be similar to yours so that you can know that you can do something about it. And what's that thing you can do about it? Prayer. Yeah, prayer changes things. Prayer changes things. Oh, you can say, oh, I've been praying about it. It's still the same thing. Pray about it again. My own definition of push is pray until something happens. Pray until something happens. And when you pray, God listens. God is not just there, just, floating in the heavens. He listens. He's taking care of us. He cares about you. He cares about the situation you are going through. You don't have to be tired. You just speak to God instead of taking time to whine about the situation, to cry, and the energy you use in giving up. Why don't you talk to God about it? Now, last week we heard about someone, a returning subscriber who sent me an email to tell me what she did or how she prayed and God came through for her, how prayer worked for her. And thankfully, there's another subscriber that sent me an email. Now, this is quite lengthy, but very, very interesting. A lot of people are going through this. A lot of people in diaspora are going through this. I'm going to read in our own words. I'm going to read in our own words. So listen, is a very, very interesting story that will inspire you, that will encourage you. Someone out there is actually going through this. This person actually asked me to also keep her anonymous, and I'm going to do exactly that. So please listen carefully as I read. Hi Faith, how are you? I came across your video. I have been following actually, and this very last one really, really inspired me because I also have a story to tell that can encourage someone out there, because I actually was very, very discouraged. I'm writing you this because I also want someone to take this leap of faith that I did. The journey to another land began with our leap of faith, and God took care of the rest. Like every hopeful international student, my husband and I made the decision for me to go first. Now, the country is to Canada. She was schooling in Canada. And he and our kids joined later. I arrived in Canada during the COVID era, so as you may know, it was tough. There was no one to talk to, and I was schooling online. Within the first few weeks after my arrival, I met a few people. I found women who, like me, were also expectant of reuniting with their families. On one occasion, one of my friends said I was being too forward, already planning to bring my family over when I had just arrived. People don't know how crazy you can be. The person went on to say that due to the pandemic, there were backlogs and they had been waiting for over a year. It would be another year or two before I could think of applying. As part of building our faith, I went ahead to rent a big apartment suitable for a family, even when it was just me. Did you hear that? Even when it was just her, she went ahead to rent a big apartment. I started trying to ask about elementary schools around and found out 2 streets away from my apartment. In faith, I went to inquire about registration and was told there were no spaces at the time. I prayed about it. Did you hear that? I prayed about it. Snapped the pictures of the school and sent home for our kids to see their new school. And when they joined me, I also decided to start buying household items, including buying cereals and stocking up. 3 months after I landed, we applied for my family visa. Weeks passed and then months, and slowly I was beginning to get discouraged. In all of this, I could sense God was still present. Sometimes when you're discouraged, as a human being, you can get discouraged, but don't give up. Don't give up. You see, she said, I was beginning to get discouraged. In all of this, I could sense God was still present. God does not leave us, He doesn't leave you nor forsake you. I felt the most sad when I was absent for the first time ever for my kid's birthday, including my milestone wedding anniversary. In this season, the devil started exaggerating my situation to make me see that hope is lost. Depression and loneliness crept in, and my school/work became overwhelming. But I remained steadfast. Every day, my number one prayer was my family's application. Then it was a beautiful evening in November, which was now 5 months since our application, that a classmate chatted me to ask about my family. Knowing we were in the same prayer group, she challenged me by asking if I was really serious about writing down the date and believing in God. That conversation shook me to my core, and for some reason, I became angry in my spirit. I went straight to my email and deleted all junk and irrelevant emails, as I knew I needed to act on my faith by preparing to receive good news. I set a date 3 days after that dialogue on my laptop, as I felt maybe God was not seeing all the ones I had written on paper. The funny thing was that I said a prayer and told God, sorry. The funny thing was that I said a prayer and told God that if I don't receive an email about their application before that date, I will not pray about it again. She gave God an ultimatum. That night, I cried out my heart to God during my group prayer and slept like a baby. People of God, one day before that date, I wrote down, God showed up. That email I cleared my system for appeared with my family approval confirmation from IRCC. It was so real. It was sure real. It was sure real. Sure real, yeah. We were overjoyed. Then the planning began to earnest. My prayer at the beginning was that I didn't know how God intended to do it, but I must spend the Yuletide with my family. That is the Christmas season. She was bent on spending the Christmas season with her family. Having missed the birthdays and anniversaries and all that, she didn't want to miss the Christmas as well. So my prayer at the beginning was that I didn't know how God intended to do it, but I must spend the Yuletide with my family complete. Tickets were booked for December 12th as usual. The devil did not want our joy to be complete. He struck with the Omicron virus, and then the bad news came that countries were closing their borders. My husband was worried. He had already checked the Canadian website and broke the news to me that only citizens were being allowed and flights were turning back passengers. I knew I had to go back to God. It was clear from human understanding that it was not going to happen. My God, this is really faith working. She was bent. She was sure. Did you hear that? I knew I had to go back to God. In other words, don't stop. Don't give up. Don't stop praying about it. This was a condition that was outside her control. Everyone knew how the pandemic was and everything, but she took a leap of faith. She kept going to God. Situations can change. Some things that you think are too big can be changed in prayer. God can do it just because of you. What if I told you all this happened for this story to be complete? Would you believe me? Let's read on. My husband started making plan B, and I insisted he packed and be on standby. Then, like a movie, I heard, oh, it's like I missed a paragraph where she said, I knew I had to go back to God. Yes, I got it now. It was clear from me my understanding that it was not going to happen. In faith, I asked my husband to move their flight to 23rd December. If I told you we didn't have any arguments about all of this, the husband told her to just forget about it. Don't worry, why are you pushing? Don't stress yourself. In January we can go, we can still come. But she was bent on spending the Christmas with her family. Did you get that? Nothing is too big, no matter how that thing is, as far as you want it, and God knows that it's a good thing, it will come to you. So if I told you we didn't have any arguments, then I wouldn't be saying the whole story. My husband has started making plan B. I insisted he packed and be on standby. Then, like a movie, I heard UK were reopening borders, then US. On the Canadian website, it said only until the 31st of January. The following year, before they would reopen. On the Canadian website, sorry, I have to take that again. It said only until the 31st of January, the following year, before they would reopen their borders. On the 19th of December, I had earlier spoken with my husband, and at the time, there was no update. Then 2 hours later, which was 10 a.m. my time, the Canadian website announced reopening of its borders. That was how I was reunited with my family on December 23rd, just before Christmas Day. It will interest you to know that my kids ate all those cereal I bought, and now they attend the school I prayed about, the school that she went to make inquiry and took pictures of and sent to her kids back in Nigeria. They are now attending the school. Indeed, God is faithful. He never fails. Woo! This particular email, in fact, when I received the email, I called her. I said, come, look, babe, how far? You know, I knew your family were joining, but you didn't tell me all of this. You didn't give me all this gist. And we laughed and laughed. And I said, well, I thought I did. And you know what I concluded? If she had told me that time, it wouldn't have made sense to me. It wouldn't have made sense to me. But now that we are talking about prayers and everything, it came up. It came up. And now it makes sense. Because if she had told me then, there's no way I would have recorded it. But now I'm recording this. I'm recording this for the purpose of someone else out there. There's God in heaven. If there's a person to pray, there is a God to answer. You have to persist. You have to be convinced. You have to have faith. You have to do some practical things. See, what you remember what she did? She went to a school that she wanted her kids to attend. She made inquiry even when there was no space. She took the pictures of them. She told her husband to book flights. She told her husband to book flights. Even when there were other obstacles, she didn't give up. Guys, there is power in praying. There is power in praying. I cannot over-exaggerate this. There is power in praying. Just don't give up. What are you going through? What are you going through? Put it to God in prayer. Bring it to God in prayer, and God will hear you. I just want to leave it here. I don't want to make the video too long. There is another email, but I'm not going to take that today. I'm taking that another time because I don't want to make the videos too long so that people don't lose interest and then they actually get the point. I just want us to be encouraged. Remember, we're talking about prayer. This is to inspire you and motivate you. If you find this very insightful, please leave your comment below. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, and please subscribe to my channel. My email will be on the description box. Send me an email if you want your story to be heard, if you want someone to be inspired by your story. These are true life stories. We are not making them up. This is a reason. This is for people to be encouraged. A lot of people are going through stuff and they are being discouraged and depressed. But I know that if you come across this video, you will find this very, very insightful, and God will show up in your life as you pray about that situation. Thank you so much. I'll see you again in my next video. Until then, ciao.